You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Half Past Dead Paranormal Radio, the Paranormal and Strange. We are live on WCJV Digital Broadcasting out of Buffalo, New York, and I'm your host, Roger Belt, and I will be doing the All Hillbilly Tennessee show tonight because my partner, Hank, is sick and will not be here. So, everybody hang on. We're going to do this thing. We have a few people calling in at some point. Don't know when that's going to be just yet. So, for fun and all that other good stuff, in the meantime, we're going to talk about the Word Dog creature of South Mountain. This is a story that I read, and I saved it for just this purpose. It's a story that was, and I'm reading this in second party, so this is the person telling the story. Was told to me by a coworker a few years ago. The time of the incident would have been about 2007. I will call her Bev. Bev said she lived at the base of South Mountain. South Mountain is a mountain and park south of central Phoenix, Arizona. Locals hear a lot of happenings there about ghosts, UFOs, flying entities, strange lights, what have you. In fact, I read about a creature sighting on Your True Tales, and it was also near South Mountain off of Baseline Road. Bev was in her early 20s and enjoyed what others her age do, go out partying, dancing, breakfast, whatever. She said she was driving home early in the morning after a night of dancing and breakfast at about 2 a.m. She says that she was not high or drunk. Well, now that's debatable, but that's what she says. She was driving down Baseline Road and past a park. She saw a large dog sitting in the park and paid no attention, but then she saw that it was starting to run after her car. She said it stayed right with her on the driver's side and did not seem to want to give up. She floored the gas and was going really fast, and the dog kept up. Finally, she lost it. She looked in the rearview mirror, and the dog stood up on its hind legs and walked across the road. She vowed never to be in that area again at night. She said a short time after that, a friend was driving to her house down Baseline and saw this same creature. It chased her also and walked on two legs. Now, short story, yes, I know, but brings up an interesting topic here because Dita says my equipment is haunted tonight. Studio started by itself and I got booted from chat. Haunted, I say. Okay, anyway, I was talking with my producer, CJ, about this one time, and she mentioned that there's one of these word dog creatures seen a lot on the, I think it's south side of the mountains, Tennessee area. Or was it the north side? Anyway, it's only seen on one side of the mountains, but it's been seen on several occasions. And you have to ask yourself, were dog, werewolf, whichever one of the two, could be either one, or both. The way I look at it, if you got a dog, per se, and we used to have a dog several years ago that would race us down the road when we'd leave the house, and we would be running, a good 40, 45 miles per hour, and this dog would stay up with us part of the way, and then she would, give up. But if somebody's flooring their car and they're running, let's just say 60 mile an hour, and this animal's keeping up with them, that's not a normal dog. I don't know if there's a dog that can run 60 mile an hour. So, You know. Yeah, we'll keep him here. I promise. Uh, like I said, will y'all keep him there? I will do my best to keep him here. Actually, not saying I would want to meet it, but to get it on camera would be pretty awesome. I know I'm weird like that. Uh, Ghosts, werewolves, vampires, as long as they're not near me, but I can get them on film, I'd love that. Cheetah is the fastest animal, and they sprint at 35, right? So if you're looking at, as I say, if you're looking at a dog or whatever it is that can keep up with a car doing 55, 60 mile an hour, that's one fast son of a gun. So, that's not normal. Now, I wish I had. Okay, hold on a minute, y'all. I'm sorry about that, y'all. My dog's getting upset, and I didn't want to have all that barking on here. Uh, anyway, like I said, that's not a normal thing. So, uh, that's points to ponder. Y'all can throw that around. If any of y'all have anything related to that, uh, CJ says it's migratory too, and that's very possible. I mean, it could come up from East Tennessee is where the mountainous areas are. From there, it could go as far as the mountains reach, if not further. I'm not sure about that. Uh, I don't have a lot of information on this thing. Like I said, this is a story that I read, and I thought it was very interesting. I wanted to share it with everybody. Now, I have in my repertoire some other stuff here that we can talk about. And one very interesting thing is black-eyed children. Now, I've heard quite a extensive little bit off and on different places. I've seen stuff where people talked about having seen these children, if you want to call them children. If they're obviously not normal, they're probably not. Um, they may be other dimensional. You never know. Could possibly be that. It says according to urban legend, black-eyed children, aka black-eyed kids, are mysterious paranormal creatures who resemble children between the ages of 6 and 16 with pale white skin and black eyes, who are reportedly seen hitchhiking, panhandling, or encountered on doorsteps of residential homes. Tales of black-eyed children have appeared in pop culture since the late 1900s. The supported origin of the legend are 1998 postings on a ghost-related mailing list relating alleged encounters with black-eyed kids in Abilene, Texas, and Portland, Oregon, according to the director of the 2012 fictional horror film Black-Eyed Kids. Black-Eyed Kids is an urban legend that's been floating around on the internet for years now. I always thought it was fascinating. A video episode of Weekly Strange that featured reports of black-eyed children posted on MSN in 2013 is thought to have helped spread the legend on the internet. And I'm going to pause right there because Hank and I talked about this when we were talking about the Jersey Devil, I believe it was. And from what I've gathered in studies and reading this and that about, strange things like that, just about every legend or urban legend or legend, whatever you want to call it, is based from some sort of factual evidence. Now, it may be, uh, a factual thing that has just been blown way out of proportion. Don't know about that. But I reiterate, just about every urban legend or legend period stems from some fact-based thing that happened at some point in time. Having said that, black-eyed kids an urban legend could be something related somewhere that's actually factual. So, okay, we'll get a little further into this. Alleged sightings are taken seriously by ghost hunters, some of whom believe black-eyed children are extraterrestrials, vampires, or ghosts. According to science writer Sharon A. Hill, the legend of black-eyed kids resembles typical spooky folklore stories in the same realm as phantom black dogs, apparitions, and mysterious monsters. They aren't supernatural. There may never even have been an actual encounter. That does not stop people from continuing to see and fear them and pass on the latest terror. So, anybody have any thoughts on that? Anybody think they may have seen something like that? Or does everybody believe it's all just a myth? Now, don't be shy. Okay, is my chat room not working here, or just nobody talking? Okay. Dealer, you don't have a comment for me on that one? Since I have never seen one, it's hard to say okay. Because they are not scraping me off the ceiling, I would say no. But the black eyes implies alien, not necessarily. Oh, Cheryl Carter says I've seen one. Okay, that's cool. Yes, Becca, demons, exactly. Demons have black eyes. Or from what I've gathered. I don't know, this is the first I've heard of them. Wow. According to all reports I have read, most of the reports have been from military members. Yeah. That makes sense. Hello, Scott. How you doing? I wouldn't want to see one if they are demons. No, it was staring at me while I was in bed. Wow. Okay, I'm doing just fine, Scott. I'm having a wonderful time here discussing word dogs and black-eyed children and just whatever else I pull out of my repertoire. We're just going to talk about different things and waiting for people to call in, and so we can get some one-on-one going here. But anyway, if it were military members, perhaps it is trauma that makes them more sensitive. Now, do they talk? Yes, Billy, they talk. There's been reports of them knocking on people's doors, asking to be let in to use the phone, asking people to give them a ride home, stuff like that. For some reason, it seems like they always want to get inside your car, your house, whatever. So, if there is any reality to it, alien could be a very good possibility for that. I don't know if demons go door to door, knocking on the door to be asked to be let in. I ain't never heard of that, but now if I recall, it started from Germany. Not sure, Scott. But that's a possibility. Seems like a lot of interesting paranormal stuff starts from that way, from that area. Uh, all of the old country areas over there seem to be full of tales and ritual stuff and all that kind of stuff like that. It's possible. It always makes me think of that movie Village of the Damned. Yes, exactly. Caller, you're on the air. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, who we got?
Matt Carr.
Hey, Matt, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, not bad. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. We're just rolling along here talking about black-eyed kids and were dogs and stuff like that. So, what have you guys been up to?
We've had quite a bit of stuff going on lately. We just recently did a public investigation at the Dunkirk Lighthouse in Dunkirk, New York. It was like a fundraiser for them. And, just our usual stuff. Been up to, investigating some cool places. And
So you put up some videos and stuff? I have to go check that out.
yeah, we put up one fairly recently from a place called the Wolf House. It's in Taylor Mill, Kentucky.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And, it's now, unfortunately, it's closed to the public. I think they end up selling the house for auction. But
Wow.
it was a really awesome place. We got a lot of really cool EVPs, and if anybody wanted to check out that video, you could go to youtube.com/Niagara Para, or I think we got a link through our Facebook page too. So it was a really cool video and a really cool experience. We got a lot of awesome, intelligent EVPs that we didn't even realize, we got at the time.
I heard a sad, or seen, actually. It was a post on Facebook that they tore down Wolf Manor.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, that was a place in California, right?
Right.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That's really sad, man. Not only is it from what I understood, a great place for paranormal investigators, but also, that's a big chunk of history that they just wiped away,
Yeah, I know. It's a shame that they couldn't find somebody to restore it or whatnot,
Well, what they're going to wipe away a piece of history like that to put up what, an apartment building,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's unfortunate. It's what happens to a lot of places, especially a lot of old hospitals and asylums and stuff like that. They just fall into disrepair, and nobody wants to restore them. Unfortunately, that happens a lot, it seems.
Well, what I read was that the owner, I guess, couldn't afford to, make it presentable, livable, safe. But, it depends if the town wanted to put something in that spot, they're going to find something wrong so that they can destroy it, That's just the way it works.
Yeah, like you said, not only the paranormal, but, I'm sure there's a lot of, really awesome history and stuff that went on there. And, I don't know a lot about the place, but it seemed like a really cool place from what I seen on Ghost Adventures and whatnot.
Right. And I think I saw that episode, matter of fact. Now, my team and another team from up around Selmer, Tennessee, we just did a 3-story hospital in Fayetteville, Tennessee last Thursday.
I saw about that on Facebook. That'd be pretty cool.
Big old place. I was surprised. We did get a little bit of stuff going on, but it wasn't what I expected. And from what, the owner told us whenever, he met us up there, I was expecting a whole lot more, I guess, than what we got. But, to me, it's not only the paranormal part of it, but the historical part of it. This building was originally a college in 1919 to 1925. and then the hospital took it over. Well, they tore down, I guess, the original college part of it and added on new stuff, you know, and everything. Around 1935, I think, is when they done all that. But I got one EVP that I was able to pick out because of noise contamination through most of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I did get a child EVP, and I'm not. It's either like saying ooh or oh or something like that. But I mean, it was plain of you could tell it was a child voice, and that was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those places, it's just, you know, I mean, it's a privilege being there and, you know, experiencing the history of it. And, you know, anything you might get, you know, paranormal, or whether it be EVP or video evidence, I mean, that's just a bonus. You know, the place itself is so cool. It's just a privilege to be at there.
It is. And I ran around there with my night vision camera for about the first 2 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And was filming everything, I thought. I get my camera out the other night to go over the video, and there was no video.
Huh.
Now, explain that one, because I know it was recording, or supposed to be. The recording light was on and everything, but there was no video.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know, it's a mini DVD camera, so the disc don't just erase itself.
Yeah, for sure.
So I can't figure that one out.
Yeah, maybe you got something and they didn't want you to see it. So
right, that's what I'm thinking. You know, hey, you know, you ain't supposed to be filming us. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was pretty weird.
Yeah, that is crazy.
And they had he didn't call it a crematorium. He called it a what did he call it? Anyway, basically, there's a big, humongous smokestack out to the one end of the building, and I took pictures of the door. It was kind of open, had a big metal door on the bottom. Mm-hmm. Now, did they put bodies in there? Why would they put bodies in there? Don't make any sense unless nobody claimed them, and for whatever reason, I don't know. But anyway, it wasn't, I don't think, set up for, like, to put a burn box in there with you know, to catch ashes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no idea what it was really there for, because it was independent from everything else.
Yeah.
Did they burn their waste that, you know, hazardous waste stuff? I don't know what it was. If it wasn't for that, I don't know what it was, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds like an awesome place.
It was. I mean, it wore me out, but I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed every bit of it. I lost one of my recorders for about 3 hours, and I finally found it where I laid it down. You know, I mean, I had my hands full. I had my camera in one hand, recorder in one hand, and something else flashlight I was carrying, and something else. And I stopped there for a minute, and I laid it down, and I guess I just got to pick it back up. Well, I'm telling everybody, I can't find my recorder. It's gone, whatever. And, you know, so my partner was looking for it, and one of our teammates, and I just happened to walk down to the end of the hall and start down them stairs to the basement, and there it was, where I laid it down at. And interestingly enough, I had ran that recorder for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing on it. It was an analog tape recorder. Nothing on it. I mean, nothing. Not even me talking.
Oh, that's interesting, huh?
and I know I ran that recorder the first hour to hour and a half that I was in there walking around, so there would have had to have been my voice on there.
Yeah, for sure.
But the tape was blank.
Wow. Yeah, now, that's crazy.
The EVP that I did capture was on my digital recorder.
Huh.
So that was pretty weird. we enjoyed it. We had a good time. We were there about 9 hours, and yeah, we wore out, but it was fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Now you guys did uh, which place was it? I remember seeing you posting something about y'all were going to back to the rectory. Was it or?
Oh yeah. We went. We went there for July 4th weekend, and actually we went there for Labor Day again. Yeah, I mean, we love that place. It's, it's a decent hike from where we're at. It's about 7 hours or so, but
Wow.
I mean, every time we go there, it just gets more and more interesting. And actually, interestingly enough, we're actually going back again, Thanksgiving weekend. We're going with, it might be our whole group, or maybe, we might be missing one or two who can't make it, but then we're also meeting, my friend, Kevin McGuffey. He's from, I believe it's Dayton, Ohio, Spirit Trackers, it's called. It's a really cool group from around there.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy, and we're actually going to meet him there we're staying for 2 nights, Thanksgiving weekend. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an awesome place. Every time we go back there, it just seems like we get, more and more. So I mean, last time we were there, we got a lot of cool stuff. We were setting up in the kitchen downstairs, and we heard this loud bang from upstairs, and we're like, wow, that's crazy. So we went upstairs to, look around and stuff, and we didn't get much. But then, sure enough, we came down, and about 5 minutes later, we heard this loud, it sounded like a female scream from upstairs. And we're like, oh, it seems like every time you're not kind of paying attention, that's when it, kind of tries to get your attention. But we had a lot of stuff. We had also had what sounded like a woman crying when my friends Pat and Jeff were upstairs. They heard a woman sobbing upstairs, and unbeknownst to me, Jeff had asked, because he was upstairs, and it was like right at the end of the night, so we were about to pack it up, and because it's one of the things that's so cool about the place is you're able to stay there till noon, so you can kind of treat it as your hotel, and you can pass out there for a few hours, and I was about to pass out, and they were doing one last run through upstairs, and I was laying on the couch, and I guess unbeknownst to me, Jeff had asked if anybody's here with us, we'll go downstairs and make a noise for Matt and Matt and Brian and all them, and I was talking to my brother Brian. Here's me, and we heard this loud bang in between us. It wasn't like somebody walking on the floor. It almost sounded like somebody was banging on the ceiling of the basement, right underneath us. And we're like, oh wow, that's crazy. And then actually it happened 2 more times, and the third time was actually loud enough for those guys heard it from upstairs. And then we went down in the basement, but we weren't able to capture anything. But it was just a cool experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those places that's just cool. It's an old rectory. It's right next to the church. I mean, priests and I believe nuns used to live there, and it's just there's a lot of cool history of the place. It's beautiful. They've been restoring it, kind of back to its original look. And I mean, every time we go there, there's something new done with the place, and it's just really cool.
That is just awesome. Now I have and I'll have to go to my screen to grab it, but I have, where are you? Well, I'm not seeing it now. Where is it? I can't play my EVP for you, or I would, but, dang, I thought I had a thing on here for oh heck, Palmyra.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I thought I had their web link saved, and I was gonna throw that up in the chat room here, and dadgum, I can't find it now. I could swear I saved that to my desktop just for that purpose. But I have an ad, and I can't show the picture on here. So, it has the web link on it and all that stuff. And two events that they're having. One is this month, and one is in December.
Mhm.
And now, how many? You guys have been there more than once, right?
Yeah, we were there a total of, I'm trying to think, I believe it was twice. And I mean, it's a really awesome place. Actually, for anybody who's interested, we're having a public event there November 22nd, and Palmyra is, I don't know, I think it's about 15 minutes outside of Rochester, New York, for anybody who lives in the area that's interested in it. But what makes it so cool, not only the history of the place, but it makes it awesome for a public investigation, is because when you go there, you kind of have free reign of two very haunted, very historical buildings, and one of them is the actual museum itself. And I believe it was once used as, I think it was a bar at one time, and I believe there was even like a brothel upstairs or something, something like that, I believe. And there's a lot of, historical items and everything from the town's history. And I mean, we've gotten a few really cool things there. We've got a lot of cold spots and really cool flashlight interactions, and even a few EVPs. And then a building that's right next door it's called Phelps General Store, and I believe it was built in I want to say it was either the 1850s or 1860s. But they've done an awesome job of preserving it, and the bottom floor is the old general store that they used to have, and it's just as if you were to walk into it in like the late 1800s. Like all the items in the store and everything, and the cash register and everything are all all from that period, and it's an awesome place. And then the top two floors of the building were residences of the family that own the store. And I mean, we've gotten a lot of stuff out of there, a lot of cool, like I said, the same thing, EVPs. We heard a woman scream there one time. We were down in the general store part of it, and we actually, because there's a piano upstairs on the second level, and we actually heard a few piano keys from when we were downstairs. So it's a really awesome place.
Johnny says one of the buildings was moved over to a site where a house burned down and killed one.
Yeah, yes, it was. Yeah, it was. It was actually, I think it was a street or two over, I believe. I think that's what it was. And then, yeah, the house burned down, and they ended up moving the building over to that location. If you go into the basement of the museum itself, you can actually see the old foundation of the house that burned down. It's really cool.
Now,
and it's also
5 children that burned up in that, or? Did 5 children actually burn up in that, or?
I know, I'm pretty sure there was a few people who passed away, a few children, but I'm not actually sure of the number. I forgot exactly what the number was, but I'm pretty sure there was actually a couple of children that passed away. And, I mean, it's something else, to go on there and see the old foundation of, of the old house. And it's just, just a pretty sad feeling down there. It's an awesome place. And like I said, Bonnie Hayes, who runs everything there, and they do an awesome job of preserving it. And I mean, it's really a cool place to go to.
Well, I would love to go. And one of these days, my ship's going to come in, my little rowboat with a hole in it. Maybe it'll make it to the bank before all the loot falls out. I'd love to go and do Iron Mountain and of course Palmyra and the Rectory and all them places I'd love to go to. I've got a bucket list a mile long, and Rolling Hills, I'd like to go there. Trans-Allegheny, Eastern State.
Oh yeah.
A lot of places up in the northern area that I would just love to go to. And I did actually manage Iron Island. Didn't I say that? Hank said Iron Island. Did I say Iron Mountain?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, Hank, you're rubbing off on me. Yeah, Iron Island. Okay. Hope you feel better, Hank. We're all sending you some good old healing energy there, buddy. Hank is not hosting with me tonight because he's got the yuck, and
Oh man.
yeah, but he's here in the chat room talking a little bit with us, and
No, that's cool.
uh,
Yeah. Hope you're feeling better, Hank.
we hopefully, and I don't know when, but I hope we get to do this like by next spring or summer. We're planning on going to uh, the asylum up there in Bartonville, Illinois.
Oh,
And
yeah?
it's had several different names: Illinois State Hospital, Bartonville Asylum for the incurable insane, etc., etc., etc. And we're planning on making a trip there, and I hope we get to do it in the spring or at least by next summer.
Yeah.
Oh, the thing about, and of course, now that one has some power. The hospital we just did had no power. We were running off a small generator,
Mhm.
and we did run our DVR cameras on the first floor as far as we could run them from the generator cord there. But
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to go through that yet and watch them be blank too. Seems like all my luck with my video stuff, everything was blank, and one recorder that was blank. That was just crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But anyway, yeah, we want to go there. And now I went to Waverly Hills, and Waverly Hills is a big old place. It's 5 floors with a little. I don't know what the room is on the tip top. We couldn't get up there to it. They had it locked up for some reason.
Mhm.
But it kind of reminds me because it looked like it's all glass windows with 4 columns on each corner and then like all glass windows around it. So I figured it was like some kind of lookout tower, maybe, where they can
Oh,
watch, make sure none of the crazy people were gonna escape off into the nearby town.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'd love to get up there, but we couldn't get up there, unfortunately. Now I did get an EVP in the morgue. I had the guy, me and another guy went, and I got on that tray and had him slide me up in the little freezer thing there. And I asked if anybody was with me, and I had a reply that said, "I'm with you." So that was
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah, I would love to get there one of these days. It's definitely a place that's on my bucket list.
it is it's a cool place. It's huge.
Mm.
We sat about halfway down the death tunnel,
Oh, yeah.
and of course I have, and of course my legs gotten proceedingly worse as time went on. But even then, it was pretty bad. So I got down that far, and I sat down there on the step, and we were sitting there just doing EVP and snapping some pictures, and you didn't see a darn thing. And all of a sudden, you hear coming up from the bottom, heel to toe, like boot sounds.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
hear the heel and the toe, like somebody walking up through there.
Wow.
The guy with me, all that's just concrete settling. I've been in that kind of work long enough. I know what it sounds like. Concrete don't make heel to toe sounds. Settling, I'm sorry, it don't.
Yeah, that's for sure. I never heard concrete make sounds like that.
Okay, and also I had a recorder running the whole time.
Mhm.
Now, if that was concrete settling, my recorder would have picked it up. My
Mhm.
recorder
Yeah, for
didn't
sure.
pick up nothing. Nothing.
Wow.
So, I know what I heard. And I would have loved to seen it, but I know what I heard.
Mhm.
Anyway, so we did that, and that was pretty cool. And I had an EVP upstairs on the 5th floor, And the story is the nurse was pregnant out of wedlock. She was also had just caught the tuberculosis, which is what the hospital was built for.
Mm-hmm.
And so she hung herself.
Jeez.
On the pipes outside of the room. But now there's different stories to this, and one of them is that they took her into that room, which is right next to where she supposedly hung herself there, and they aborted her baby. Now that's one story, and then there's a story of another nurse in that same room fell out of the window to her death. Either fell out or was pushed out, one or the other.
Yeah.
So, and I had an EVP right outside that room, and where the pipe area where this nurse hung herself. But the EVP was not the nurse. I think it was a patient asking for help. And it sounded to me like it said, "Help me walk." Now, if you read up on the hospital, you know they did some crazy stuff trying to cure this tuberculosis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And one of the things that they would do is like remove some ribs to let the lungs expand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you remove the ribs, you're removing the stability of the person to hold themselves upright.
Yeah. Wow.
So I could see someone asking for help to walk. So, I mean, it kind of made sense.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
And there was one other EVP, and I don't understand it because we were, I think, on the 4th floor at the time. Mm-hmm. And we were standing next to a stairway. No, wait a minute. We were on the 5th floor. There was a couple of girls up there who were scared and wanted to go down to the room where everybody meets up at because it was lit up and all that stuff. But they were scared to go by themselves, so we offered to walk them down. Mm-hmm. Well, we were at the stairway at the top of the stairway at the 5th floor, and I got this recording of something falling, and it sounded like a metal object all the way down through these flights of stairs. You hear it banging against stuff. Nobody dropped anything. So we still don't understand that one.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, it was quite interesting and fun. I enjoyed it. I'd go back there if I could in a heartbeat. And
oh yeah. I saw too. I believe I saw that in a couple of years they're planning on turning that into a hotel. I thought I saw.
I've heard. Yes, I've heard that they. At first, I heard they were going to turn it into a hotel. Then I heard they were going to turn the 1st floor into a hotel, and you keep the rest for paranormal investigations or whatever. Like people could check into the hotel and be able to investigate the upper floors and blah blah blah. Who knows? I think they're making a mistake if they do that.
Mm.
You know, it was what it was, and now it's basically what it is. It's a place for the spirits that are trapped there or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
Would you want somebody to come into your house and turn it into a hotel?
No, absolutely not. I mean, on top of that, but I mean, it's kind of a shame because if they did that, then they'd have to, change the whole layout of the hospital quite a bit and everything, and I mean, I don't know, it would be a shame to see it, something other than what it was,
Right. Did you call the bomb squad? What? Reviewing an EVP session, it should be just a raw recording. Yes, I do. Or do you think effects should be used to bring out the voices? Johnny, I say the raw stuff is best. If I will usually I'll keep a copy of the raw file, and then I will amplify a little bit if I need to or something like that to hear something better. But mostly I say, the raw evidence is the best. you know, you may not understand everything, but you know it's something that is not you or anybody with you, so you know it's coming from somewhere else. I love the raw stuff. Okay, let's see. Make sure I'm not missing stuff here. I call them, and then you get the bomb squad showing up. Okay, I'm kind of a little bit out of touch in the chat room there, so it's fine. Amping is fine, but I've heard files that were pumped through a flanger that tells me that the sound was right. And there's only two things that I use to manipulate an EVP to where I can understand it better, and that's to either slow it down or speed it up or amplify it a little bit. Other than that, that's all I do, because anything else could change what it actually is. I know there's people that have all these fancy audio programs and do all that stuff, but to me, I just like, the amplification and slow down or speed up. That's the only thing you really need.
Yeah, I mean, as to what you were just talking about, that's what we do too. When we get a cool EVP, we try to, put out the original file, but then, well, I have this program called Audio Director, and all I try to do is if it needs to be touched up a little bit, I'll just maybe give it a little boost, or there's also an equalizer thing, and that sometimes helps out, especially for like the low end, because sometimes if you're in some place that has like air conditioning or something,
right,
you can kind of cut out the low end frequency, but we always try to put out our original EVP too, and that's all we do is just boost it up a little bit and maybe maybe touch up the frequency if we have to.
And it's been my experience, now other people do things differently, but it's been my experience that if speeding or slowing it down, and amplifying it, don't bring it out where you can hear it, you ain't gonna make it out. That's pretty much.
Yeah, that's true. That's all. I mean, there's nothing else really you can do,
But you gotta love, and Billy will know what I'm talking about. When you get a disembodied voice,
mm-hmm.
and the first one that I ever heard was in Billy and them's front yard, and we were walking up from the field there. We just come through the gate, was walking up through the yard, and you hear a voice come out of the air. And we had just stated when we come out of the gate from the field area, you're welcome to follow us up here, but you can't stay.
Mm-hmm.
And we were walking up through there, and you hear this voice just come out of midair. I ain't staying. And he's like, "Did you say that?" No, I didn't say. Why would I say that? And we did capture it on the recorder too, so that was pretty wild. That was the first one I ever heard, disembodied voice I ever heard like that.
Yeah, there's nothing like your first EVP, that's for sure.
Oh, this I mean, the first EVP I caught was cool, but now the first voice out loud that I heard like that, now that was really wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some good EVPs, but, when you hear it out loud in your ear,
yeah,
there's just no, what can I say? There's just no better experience to me than, that's almost as good as the holy grail of seeing a floating apparition.
Yeah, that's a close second, for sure.
So, yeah, it's pretty wild. Gravedigger, I like that. Pretty cool. That is wild. I'm sorry, I ain't throwing a hello in there. Didn't spell it right. Nope. Daggum keyboard fairies. Anyway, so you guys, what's your next big adventure? You got something lined up?
Yeah, like I said, we got in 2 weeks. Before I get going here, I just want to let everybody know that in 2 weeks, like I said, we have our event at the historic Paul Meier Museum and Phelps General Store, and the cost of the ticket is $25, and all of it goes towards the historic Paul Meier Foundation and helping them keep everything up and keep everything preserved. And the event is from 8 p.m. till 1 in the morning, and it should be an awesome time, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody. And for tickets, you can either buy them at the door, or you can go on to niagarapara.brownpapertickets.com, and you can purchase them online also. So,
okay. If you're where you can get in the chat room here, you can put those links up in there for everybody. That way, all the people here in the chat room can be able to go check them out. And
yeah, definitely. As soon as I get out of here, I'll hop on my computer and post them for people. But as always too, they can find. We're always posting new stuff on our Facebook page, facebook.com/NiagaraPara, and you can always find all the information there too, as well as soon it will be on NiagaraParanormal.com. And then we got that going, and that should be an awesome time, and we can't wait to investigate with everybody. And then a week after that, we're going to Sedamsville for 2 days. So it's safe to say I cannot wait for these next 2 weeks to get over with.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, we can't wait.
I have two of my son-in-laws on here tonight. That's what you call keeping it in the family, huh? Okay, Johnny put up a link, NiagaraParanormal.com, which is cool.
Thanks, John.
Do you mean just so many more sided? What? Okay. That's awesome. That's really cool. Greg is supposed to call in, and we're fixing to be coming up on the hour here, which we will have to take a short break, but that's a few minutes away yet. What are y'all planning on going back to Iron Island anytime soon? Or?
Yeah. Of course, I'm sure we'll be back there at some point during the winter. Nothing that I have set in stone yet, but I'm pretty sure sometime during December or January we'll definitely be getting back. We usually go back every few months. It's it's another one of those places like Paul Meier that's just awesome, and Linda and Greg are just the best. So it's just awesome going there and being able to hang out with Greg and investigate with him for a few hours.
Greg, he thinks very highly of you guys, and he brags on y'all all the time.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. I mean, that's like the first place we went to investigate as an actual group, and I mean, he's just been really cool ever since. Trying to help us get our name out there, and he's an awesome guy. And I mean, we had the privilege too of investigating with his son Scott when we went to Dunkirk Lighthouse in May, and that was really awesome too. And they're both really cool people.
Yeah, he said that you offered for him to go on some road trips with you. He said he just can't hardly travel much, so.
Oh yeah, no, he's an honorary member of our group. He's invited to anything we ever go to. So I definitely, I'm pretty sure I invited him to Sedamsville these last 2 times too. Anything he ever wants to go on, he's more than welcome.
Right.
Same with you too. If you ever get up here, we got to go to a couple places.
Oh yeah. If I ever make it up that way, there's so many places I want to go. It's just unreal.
Yeah, we're hoping to make it down that way too. We might. We're looking into possibly doing that. I believe it's Octagon Hall. It's in like southern Kentucky, I believe.
Oh, the Octagon House. Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking into doing that maybe sometime, hopefully over the winter or spring. So hopefully we'll get down there, and I'll definitely have to give you a call.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
We're trying to, and we're hoping to find a really extremely active house somewhere that's local to us that we can open up for tours.
Yeah.
To give people the experience of what it's like if you haven't never, done an investigation. You get to see how it happened, how it works out, what all's involved, and I think it'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's of course it's going to be. I don't know what the ticket price would be on it, but we're talking about like doing 2 tours a night. So many nights out of the month, and of course, that'll pay for the owner of the building giving us the rights to do this and all that kind of stuff, and also help upkeep the place and.
Mm-hmm.
And we are very fond of Wounded Warrior, so there's going to be proceeds that be going to that too.
That's awesome.
So it's an idea that we're working on. I don't know right now. I mean, we're talking about trying to set this up within the next year, so that gives us plenty of time. But if you guys were to make it down this way, and we ever get that set up, it'd be awesome to have you guys come in and do an investigation and kind of show people how it's done and stuff like that, and just we kind of do this as like a big paranormal family thing. So
yeah, for sure. No, that would be a privilege, and I mean, that's like I said, that's what we're trying to do at Palmyra too. I mean, everybody from people who have always wanted to investigate but couldn't, or people who just are experienced but might not have a group. I mean, we really like to think that we do something pretty unique because we have, well, luckily, like good for us, we actually have a lot of equipment, and we let people use all of our equipment and really get the full experience. We have plenty of camcorders, cameras, K2 meters, everything, full spectrum cameras. So we let everybody use our equipment, and I think it really gives them a cool experience.
Right. And a lot of people, that's what they want to learn. And when you think about it, I would rather have somebody that has no experience come into something like that where they can be shown the proper way to do things than to have them just go out there because they watch Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures and, well, I can do that. There ain't nothing to that,
Oh, yeah.
Stuff
for
like
sure.
that.
I mean,
that's what gets places burned to the ground and stuff like that,
And I mean, that's what we try to teach people too. Like I said, we just had we were fortunate enough to be invited by my friend
Johnny. Johnny put the historical.
Palmyra site on there.
Yeah, he put the
cool.
.com up there for everybody.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Johnny. But yeah, too, as I was saying, we were fortunate enough to be invited to the Dunkirk Lighthouse to do an event there by my friend Don Trainer and Fredonia Ghost Hunters and Village Haunts. And we had a really cool experience there, and that's what we try to teach people as well as the paranormal. That I mean, these places that you go to investigate are just rich with history, and you really got to appreciate that before you can get into the paranormal aspect. And
exactly,
like I said, that's something that especially people that are younger, don't really appreciate that as much. And it's a shame that that, like you said, places get burned down, and a lot of places get just get trashed because people don't appreciate it.
Well, they're not interested in preserving anything. They're just interested in their extreme kicks or whatever you want to call it. Okay, y'all, we got to take a break. We're live on WCJV Digital Broadcasting out of Buffalo, New York. And we will be back. Don't anybody go away.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
Okay, we're back, everybody. Matt is still with us, and we have Greg from Iron Island with us now. Um, we are just having a wild old time in my book, and we got Cheryl call in and talk about your black-eyed person. I would love to hear about that. Okay, yeah, that'd be interesting. David said, please. Oh,
Hey, Matt.
yeah.
Hey, Greg, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good, pretty good. I guess I caught you there, too, huh? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Matt's been talking about Palmyra and Iron Island, and I said Iron Mountain a while ago, Greg. You should have heard me.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I did.
Those guys
I
from
did.
FBI get around, so.
Hank had to catch me, too. He had to be in the chat room to catch me.
All right. Yeah, I just thought I'd call you. I thought I'd call you. I've been, surfing I've been surfing Facebook and stuff like that, too, and, so, thought I'd give you a call, see how you're doing, and see how that investigation went, too, Roger.
It went like we talked a little bit about that too. We didn't get as much as I hoped we would, but we did get, there was a few interesting little things, and I did get one child voice EVP, and the history, like I was telling Matt, the history of the building, is just as important to me as the actual paranormal part of it. To walk through a historical place like that.
Yeah, that's like when I went to Gettysburg too. I went to Gettysburg about 3 weeks or a month ago, and I didn't go for actual ghost hunting. We didn't bring much equipment, but the same thing was being out in the battlefield not in the middle of the night, but when it was dark out. I thought that was really cool.
Dita said, even otter, I will be cooking black-eyed peas tomorrow.
Hey, if you're having grits, I'll be down.
We were talking about black-eyed children. She's going to cook black-eyed peas, so.
All right. Oh, man. But it's good to hear from the both of you here, geez.
Well, you too, and like I said, call in anytime you want. You're always welcome.
Thank you, Roger. So, Matt, what have you been doing? Much of anything, or?
Yeah, a little bit. I was talking before about how a couple weeks ago we had a public event at the Dunkirk Lighthouse, and
I wish I could have made that. I know I'm not stiffing you guys. I honestly.
I know you got a lot of stuff going on. Believe me, I know for sure. But yeah, we were just talking about that, and it was quiet for us a little bit the last month or so. But I'm sure you saw. We had a Wolf House video from our last trip to Cincinnati, and.
Oh, yeah. They just had that on the other night, too, that rectory. And that scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Answer.
All right. That was a creepy place, though. What the heck was... Oh, yeah, that was on Ghost Adventures, I think.
Big Bird. Hello, Big Bird.
Yeah, we're heading back there, like I said, Thanksgiving weekend again for 2 nights, so we're excited.
Oh, down to Cincy?
Okay,
yep.
Do we have... Is there somebody else in here besides you two? Okay.
This is Cheryl.
Hey,
This
Cheryl.
is Cheryl, I'm on. Hi.
How are you doing?
Okay.
Oh, tell us about your black-eyed child experience.
Well, it might not be the kind of black-eyed child that you're talking about, but I woke up at about 4 o'clock one morning, and I'm laying on the side of the bed, and I open my eyes, and there's a little girl standing there with black eyes, just staring right up to my nose, scared the heck out of me.
Well,
and
the black-eyed children, from what I understand, everything I've seen and read about it, they can't just come in your house. They have to be welcomed into your house.
Well, what I'm saying is she was wearing, I recognized her clothes from a photograph I had that it was my great-grandma's daughter that died when she was 8, but she had black eyes, I kid you not.
That's crazy.
Wow.
You know, so I don't know what that was all about. And you know, when I go, oh, you know, what was that? And Grandma says, you just scared Pearl. She did. She yelled at me. She goes, that was Pearl, and you scared her.
That's crazy.
Oh,
But I swear there were black eyes. That's what scared me. If it would have just been a little girl sitting there, probably wouldn't have bothered me so much, but it was the eyes.
Right.
Wow.
So I don't know what it was.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Caller, you're online. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
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 Okay. Who we have here?
I think my name's Christopher.
Oh, hello, Mr. Bruce.
Hello, how are you?
We're doing just fine. We've just been rambling about different paranormal aspects and things going on. I am so glad you called. I watched.
My pleasure.
I watched Soul Catcher recently, and that.
Yeah.
I mean, it just blew me away. And the reality of that stuff is it's unbelievable.
Thank you. I was actually just reviewing Soul Catcher again. It's been a while since I've seen it. It's one of our favorite films that we've done.
And you know, it's so sad that you know that stuff happened, and you know you can see why there would be spirit activity still hanging around there.
Well,
Now,
sad does create haunts.
yes, and also I watched Children of the Grave, which I'd seen it on Sci-Fi back, you know, a few years ago, and
Yes.
I'd watched that again not too long ago, and that one really, you know, it gets you too, because you know you think about all those orphan children buried under a number.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, it was a sad show.
and I've got some things here I was going to talk to you about. Now, I haven't got to see Dead Still and Haunted Boy yet, but they're on my list of things to watch. I did see Death Tunnel.
Yeah.
That was a wild movie. I really enjoyed that. And I actually have been to Waverly Hills where that was filmed at, and caught some activity there myself. Now,
Waverly's definitely a hotbed. Indeed it is.
yes, and we were just talking about this earlier. I was in the Death Tunnel and heard heel-to-toe footsteps coming up from the bottom. Didn't see anything, but I heard the heel-to-toe boot steps coming up through there. And my recorder did not record it, so if that makes sense, sometimes I guess that if they don't want to be recorded, they ain't gonna be. But you could hear it just, you know, plain as day.
Yeah, well, Death Tunnel was kind of started out all the paranormal stuff that we did while we were filming a horror movie in a supposedly haunted place. We found that it really was haunted, so we started filming a haunted movie, and then
Exactly.
It went at that point.
I have a question from one of our people in the chat room about Dead Still. Did y'all have that camera made for the movie, or was it a real camera with a history of its own?
The camera is a real camera. The stand, the creepy stand, was a real stand, but it was remade to look obviously more movie, more Hollywood, more Hellraiser. But the camera was very real. It was actually built out of 3 different real late 18th century cameras. And I'm presuming it probably would have been used for Death Victorian photography. It actually has quite a serious energy when you stand beside the top of the camera, put your hands around it. But the camera is very much real, and it's actually sitting in my living room right now.
Wow, she said it was amazing.
Yeah, it was a fun film to do, and we actually shot it in Baton Rouge at a haunted plantation, where they actually had a an original slave quarters still there in the back. And then when we went back there, it was pretty creepy because he had pretty much all the old rocking chairs and the furniture that we used to have back then, including all the beds up in the attic where they all stayed.
I'd love to see that.
It was pretty scary. We didn't have time to do an investigation. We tried, but politically we couldn't get it done in time because we were obligated to have to do the film. And we tried to get out there on our night off to do it, but unfortunately we couldn't get it done.
Now, real quick, I want to just ask you, I heard that you guys had some interesting stuff happen at the Iron Island investigation you did recently.
Yeah, we had the pleasure of doing the Iron Island Museum, which we've never done before, and it was truly, I mean, the presence alone is incredible in it, and it has a sense of somewhat of oppression. I felt that we were hearing the chattering of a haunted residual due to the fact that it was a funeral parlor before. So it had a lot of oppression in my feelings, and the basement's pretty creepy too.
Now that's where they supposedly have the one entity that hangs out, and I forget what. Greg, are you still here?
Oh yeah, I'm still here.
What was the name of the entity in the basement there?
Well, we don't really have a name for. Christopher, my name's Greg. I work for Iron Island. So
nice.
I'll be able to tell you.
Were you there?
Yeah.
Were you there that night?
I wasn't there that night. I couldn't make it that night. I do the overnights there for, I'm a tour guide for overnights. But I've been there for 6 years, and the only thing I can call them is a cellar dweller, which, of course, don't let it scare you, but it's just the only name I could think of them at the time.
It's a good name.
I couldn't think of anything else.
That's a fitting name for a.
Oh yeah. Sometimes he gets a little aggressive too. Sometimes he doesn't. We've had people scratch down there already. So I don't know if they told you about it or not, Christopher. But they.
Yeah, they went through quite a few. It was very memorable. It was a beautiful time. Great people. Great location. Linda,
I wish I could have made it to beach it myself too. I feel bad about that, but. Maybe next time if you come back again. But, we have, of course, did you meet our little boy Tommy over there, too, or Edgar? We have that little boy spirit.
Right.
Yeah, well, Edgar was just seen. I had a group, you don't mind if I cut in, do you? But, I had a group last week, and there were teenage kids, and they came in kind of skeptical, and they didn't leave skeptical. What they did, we've all been through that, right? And they came in, they were kind of not smart, but, and up until they saw the shadow man standing in the doorway. Boy, did they get excited. And then they got that. What else did they get? They got something else, too. And, oh, yeah, that's right. It was a groan in the military room, if you're familiar with the military room, Christopher.
Yes, I am, yes.
Yeah, they got a woman's groan in there. We don't get that too often. You usually get a man's groan or a growl. But they got a woman's groan in there, so
we got a lot of Class A EVPs that night, which I was very impressed with. Pretty much almost real time, so it was very good.
They are over there because they're also interactive with your questioning. That's the thing I like about it myself.
I wanted to ask you about Haunted Boy because everybody that's anybody has seen The Exorcist.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this, and I ask this not meaning any disrespect in any kind of way, but is this supposed to be the real true story of it, or just a different play of the same movie?
Well, it is the true story, but it actually is a lot you could classify as the untold true story.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was getting at, like stuff that they didn't bring out in the actual movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they didn't even bother putting in that we found very fascinating, like, for instance, the devil sheets, where the priest would put wrapping paper on the bed when the boy slept because he used to write on his sheet. So in the morning they would grab the paper and try to decipher what the devil was telling the boy to do, including he had written a map of hell and said it was about 2,000 feet below, and many other scary things he had written. Just a lot of things that we touched that no one else touched. We actually, at that time, were the only people to go in there and do a paranormal investigation. Of course, Ghost Hunters picked it up last year, but they actually licensed footage of us to put in that film, but in their show. But it's incredible. I mean, we had talked to the real Exodus family, the real Boyce family. We go everywhere pretty much that the diary talks about as far as in St. Louis area. And it was a very memorable show. And it's a very eye-opening to what really happened. And it has a lot of definitely serious history in it about possession.
Okay, for everybody that don't know, we're talking with Christopher St. Booth of the Booth Brothers. They have produced lots of movies and paranormal documentaries. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. Children of the Grave 1 and 2, those are both excellent documentaries. And Soul Catcher is that will open your eyes to a lot of stuff. The Exorcist thing, when I watched that movie, you know, and of course, at the time when it came out, it was like the horror flick of the century, you know. But of course, whenever Hollywood does something, they don't really care if they stick to the true actual story as long as they can make it where, you know, millions of people are going to hit the box office.
Yeah, everything's about ratings, including television, I'm afraid, but it is what it is. But if you can, really pretty much the true story is a lot scarier than they end up really doing, but they have to do what they got to do the thing. It's really up to the viewer to accept it or not accept it. I find myself turning a lot of stuff off, especially the reality stuff as far as paranormal, because anybody that knows being a real paranormal investigator, this is just a little silly, a lot of the stuff that's on television nowadays regarding, you know, investigations and the findings and all that kind of stuff.
Right, and you know that's one of the things that I love about you guys is that you don't sugarcoat it. You know, it is what it is, and that means a lot to somebody into paranormal like I am. So,
well, I mean, you understand a lot of these shows on television. I won't mention the names. I'm sure everybody knows what's still on television as far as reality shows, paranormal shows. But we tend to touch the stories of the spirits. We feel that the ghosts are the stars, not the ghost hunters, so to speak. It's really about the closure that you're trying to do, the story you're trying to unfold and tell, and form some kind of closure to free them so they can move on and either hopefully get to the light or get closer to it. And I find the history truly fascinating. And I think what really makes your adrenaline going is when you piece everything together and you come up with a positive result, in the sense of, like, I'll give you an idea. When we were shooting the movie The Possessed, which was right after Children of the Grave, which was also on Sci-Fi and Chiller, we interviewed about 5 or 6 children, well, not children, teenagers actually, early teenagers, about their possessions when they were coming of age around between 11 and 13. And they all mentioned one thing, that, you know, they didn't know each other, and they were all interviewed separately, so it's not like they could all get together and have a prep meeting, but they all mentioned that when they felt they were possessed, they would hear marching feet or the sound of drums and possibly the trumpets almost sounded like an army. And we said, that's really weird. They're all playing that. It was kind of like you're starting to get shivered because you're starting to piece together something. And then we had that, right after that, we had gotten a copy of the real diary of the Exorcist. And inside that, his name is Ronald, the real boy that was possessed. He mentioned, and it is in the diary written in 1949, that he had heard the sound of a marching army, drums, and the sound of a trumpet, wow, because it was an army. And then you went, oh my God, that's incredible to have the same things told in 1949 as being told today about possession. That's when you really know you've got some serious proof and evidence of what is going on.
Right. I have a question here. Becca was saying, do any of the hauntings in Louisiana pique you or your brother's interest in making a movie about them. I'm thinking mostly of the Myrtle's Plantation hauntings. I think y'all would do a wonderful job bringing it to life, so to speak.
Yeah, well, Louisiana is full of it. And I mean, we 2 years back we started filming a show based on voodoo and vampires, the real stuff, what really happened down there, as far as the real voodoo practitioners and the real vampires that actually really do the real thing. And we started filming that and dealt with a lot of voodoo, many other stuff like that. And we filmed the real Lurie Mansion. We were filming that, the real Jack the Axe cases. Basically all the stuff that's actually American Horror touched in the last season in Coven, but it's incredible. And it's a very fascinating place. It's full of stories, full of weird feelings, full of hauntings. And as far as the Mills Plantation, it is a great story, and I mean, just alone the mirrors. But what we like to do is to try to touch a story that hasn't been touched. Like I know the Ghost Hunters went there, and then a few other people. So we try to find a story that has a lot of meat, that has an untold ending, and is more of an underdog story, so that we can attempt that. Because there's nothing better than obviously telling a story for the underdog. So we are actually heading down to New Orleans in December to finish that show and wrap up what we were doing. We filmed the real voodoo ceremonies. We filmed a lot of incredible stuff that we hopefully would be able to release that in early 2015.
Wow, that's cool. Hey, I noticed y'all have a some kind of thing going on at the Premier Comic Convention in New Orleans, November 21st through the 23rd.
Yeah, we're doing the New Orleans Comic Expo from November 21st to the 23rd, and it's a great convention. It has a lot of TV stars, including some people from American Horror, which is fun. And we'll be down there, doing what we do, and then after that we'll be filming for a few more days to get some more footage for our new show. So that would be great. Any time to go to New Orleans,
right?
It's hard to say no. I mean, somebody can say, "Can you come to Texas?" or "Can you come here?" And it's hard to say no when they say come to New Orleans, because you know exactly what's going to happen. The minute you finish, you want to walk the streets and walk down,
right.
Voodoo Authentica down there, the Voodoo lanes there, and you just feel the vibes. I mean, it's intense.
Scott says, I wonder if Mr. Booth has ever looked into Seattle's underground.
Yes, we have, actually. We were going to do a story, and I'm presumably, Scott, you're thinking what I'm thinking, but correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're talking more of the tunnels of the Seattle, the Shanghai, what the real word Shanghai really means, we were going to actually do a story on the kidnapping and the killing of the prostitutes in the underground, that they were all involved on the railroad that they built in Seattle and in Oregon. And I think it even went through parts of Montana, which obviously had a lot of brothels in as well at the time. So we were going to touch that. We haven't as of yet, but I found it very fascinating. We have many stories still on the desk and on the drawing board that hopefully we'll get to. Obviously, because we're a smaller company, it takes us a little longer to get there. And while we're doing it, if somebody else, like one of the TV shows, goes there, we might not end up doing the story because we don't want to tell a story that maybe they've embellished. And
right.
It's just a really serious. I mean, we've done National Estates, and then after that, Ghost Adventures did that, and we did Waverly, and of course, then Ghost Hunters took Waverly. And,
if you do it like you did with Lost or Haunted Boy, they can go in there. They can go in there and do their version, but then you guys can come in there and do the true version. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Well, I mean, what I like to do is try to find a story that you can tell, and it's full of adrenaline, it's full of hauntings, it's full of meaningful storytelling, but also it has to have the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, you have to find a story that can round itself, because in our stories, we don't want the light, the dark to win. We don't want the dark to win.
Yes.
So the light must win in the stories. If it's a story that seems like it may go nowhere and shed no new light on it, or possibly leave in a bad place, I think there's enough stories that already leaves a bad taste. And all you need to do is look at the news, and there's enough negativity there. So there has to be some kind of redemption, some kind of closure in a story that we tell. And if we can turn it, like for instance, Children of the Grave. Grave was a very sad story, but a story that needed to be told. Soulcatcher as well. But the truth of what I love about Soulcatcher, it didn't matter how they were forced to turn, obviously, into a white man, because it was, kill the Indians, save the man. There was too many Indians at that time. They were trying to kill them all. They couldn't, so they tried to convert them to white. But even though they took away their native tongue and their spirit and their hair, we found our EVPs were still in Native American. It was just like when we were doing the Wasika Wonder, which was in the movie The Possessed, or even Children of the Grave when we were doing the Pythian Castle, or even the Queen Mary, which is an incredible hotbed. We found that the EVPs that we were getting was old German. And that is incredible, to actually go into a place where they would have spoke more of older German, being, of an older time, and get those kind of EVPs. It seems to me very sort of silly to go to, say, Dracula's castle or Frankenstein's place or whatever, do an investigation, and you get English in your EVPs. Unless it's somebody, obviously, that maybe have had a mishap in a thing, or it's that it seems to me your questions are directed to the spirits of the past. Whereas Old England, you would get Gaelic or whatever. It seems very silly to get English back, and it doesn't make sense to me. So I'm very impressed.
Or you go to Dracula's castle, in Romania, and you get English and not Romanian.
Exactly, yeah. And it just seems very silly. So they don't having Rosetta Stone do the translation. It's like very silly. So we're very impressed when we get native tongue, international language in our EVPs.
Now, Dead Still, what exactly was that relating with? I haven't got to watch that yet, so it's kind of on my list. And if you can kind of give me just a little.
Well, Dead Still is
without spilling the beans, you know what I mean. But
Dead Still is a fictional horror movie based on true events of death Victorian photography back in the middle 18th century to the first quarter of the 19th century. About 1920 is when it started fading down. People could not afford portraits for their loved ones when they died, so the best thing they did when somebody died, they wanted to get a portrait of their loved ones, so they would bring in a camera and take a picture of their loved ones that were dead, but they would try to make them look alive, so they would prop them up and paint eyeballs on their dead eyes and sew their mouths open and put them on stands, postmodern Victorian death photography. And we thought that was a very interesting concept to base the film on. They would put them on stands to prop them up, and it just seemed like a very incredible concept to start a story about. And of course, the death Victorian camera in our movie didn't forget what it had taken in the past and brought it back in present day when somebody inherited the camera. And when he started taking pictures, the people ended up, in very twisted sort of ways. And that was just our version of a true event movie becoming horrific. And, even just alone, like if you look at those pictures, if you go to like an antique store or you go anywhere, you find those old pictures, you start looking at them, and they're very, very hauntingly beautiful in general. But what you might want to start looking at is look at their feet, because if you look at their feet, a lot of people you think are alive, look down by their feet and you'll see a stand.
Yeah.
And those stands were you'll see like a mic stand or kind of a music stand base at the bottom of their feet to hold them up, including they would screw their hands to books or to chairs or to things to hold them up. And it's a very gruesome way, but it's what they did back then.
Right. They used to read something about how the family portraits would be taken when someone passed away because getting photographs made were expensive or something at the time. So
Exactly.
they would take a picture of their deceased with the whole family like in the photograph.
Exactly. They would get them immediately they were dead, and sometimes even many weeks after, where they were starting to deteriorate. And it just seemed like a sort of like a celebration of gruesome art. If that is the way to say it. We don't make slasher movies in any. We do make horror movies, but we don't make slasher movies like just chop somebody's head off or chainsaw somebody just for the hell of it. Because I don't believe in that, because there's enough of that in real life.
True.
So we'd like to touch the old style scary movies, like the old Hammer films, the old Vincent Price type films.
Yeah.
And that just seemed like a really good Victorian idea that seemed to be very dark and very scary. So it turned out very well for us.
Well, I'm looking forward to watching that one. Johnny says, how do you keep faith in humanity after the research in Children of the Grave showed how children were treated at the turn of the last century? That's a good question.
I think sometimes, Johnny, the more you know, the less you wish you didn't find out, because now you've got to live with it. But I think the only way to deal with it is just like the real Exorcist Diary. A lot of people are too scared to read it. Well, the thing is, you're scared of the unknown, so it's best that you know it, and then you can try to fix it. And the only way to sometimes make people realize is put it out there. Of course, it's all about presentation too. I mean, it's like, for instance, it's really hard to even go on Facebook nowadays because it's too many people posting, beatings of dogs and beatings of all kinds of people. And, I understand that this must stop, and I understand you need to see it, but I think it needs to be presented right, where it doesn't completely, make you feel like you can't even deal with it. You've got to do it right, but you have to have faith. If you have no faith, there's no hope. You've got to have hope. It's important because the more you find out and the more you realize about death and the afterlife through the paranormal, it makes you getting closer to that door less scary, to the point that you're so in tune with it that you actually are ready to meet your maker or move on to the other side. A lot of people that go over there were not ready. They don't want to go. They were taken in the midst of something like soldiers and children who do not understand why they're there. So it's our responsibility as paranormal investigators and researchers to try to shed some light to help them move on, and then educate the living to realize this could happen to you.
I agree.
And so you don't want that to happen to you, because limbo is exactly what it is. It's basically, waiting in the DMV day after day after day after day, doing the same thing, and you don't want to do that. And so we have a responsibility, first of all, to tell the truth, and secondarily, once we find out the truth, find a way to make sure it never happens again.
Okay, I got a couple of questions for you here. Becca says, will you make any sequels to any of your movies? Children of the Grave 2 is a sequel, right?
Well, they're not sequels, because, you can watch Children of the Grave 2 without seeing Children of the Grave 1. It's just basically more hauntings. Making sequels, I think, is just telling more stories that we didn't have time, obviously, to put in the first one, or the first thing. There's still more stuff that needs to be said. If anybody's seen Children of the Grave 2, Children of the Grave 1 deals with orphan children, that kind of situation, and Zombie Road, which is an incredible, probably I think some of the best ghost evidence ever done, due to the fact that it was like a shadow nest of either extraterrestrial or shadow
Right.
people, however you want to look at it. But
I remember
Children of the
seeing
Great,
all the shadow people up on the mountain or the hill there on the roadside.
yes, yeah, well, see there you go. That's exactly what makes us tick. For instance, we got a photo from Tom Halstead of Paranormal Task Force at the time. Rest in peace, Tom. He was a beautiful gentleman. He was a photographer, and he seemed to have a knack of capturing the paranormal. So he sent us a photograph, and we looked at it and said, "Well, this is really intense. It's really incredible. This is probably the best Photoshop picture I've ever seen. But if it's not Photoshopped, then it's real." So of course, then we went to look at it, and it didn't look like it was Photoshopped. We blew it up and looked for edges and, obviously overlays and all kind of stuff, and we couldn't find that. So he said, "Well, let's go check it out." And then we said, "Well, where did it happen?" "Well, it happened on Zombie Road." And went, "Well, there you go. We got to go check it out." Of course, we went down there and spent a few days down there, and eventually we did find what we were looking for.
That was a question that Johnny asked. Can you tell us about going down Zombie Road? So you brought that up, and that fit right in with what he's asking.
Yeah, it was incredible. Zombie Road is truly incredible. It was, for us paranormal investigators, I'm not a paranormal investigator. I film you guys I film you paranormal investigators and sensitives and going down there. Of course, I've learned a lot from all the people that we filmed. We filmed like John Zaffers and Keith Age and Rosemary Ann Guiley, and some of the best ever we filmed and learned from them. Of course, we sponged as far as knowledge off of that, but going down there was truly eye-opening. I remember after capturing on the thermal the same, 10 or 12 shadows that were there, we just went back to the hotel room and just, flopped on the bed and went, wow.
It would, that'd blow your mind.
I know that. And now you got to, go back to Los Angeles and edit it, but you still have this intense memory. First of all, the beautiful people that you meet, also a lot of the broken spirits that you, are lucky to get in touch with, like in The Possessed, which was on the Wasika Wonder House, which was the first possession or reincarnation, however you look at it, in 1877 in Wasika, Illinois, at the Roth House. We got EVPs, and we didn't hear them until we got back. And we don't have children usually on our sets. We only once had one child, really, except for the reenactment, which they're not around the investigation hall. But we had once with a child that was basically singing "Ring Around the Rosie" to make the other children ghosts feel comfortable as a tribute. But we do not really let them on the investigation, so especially towards any more darker type cases. But we come back, and what do we firstly hear is on our fresh EVPs, we hear, "Mommy, why is Daddy doing this to me?"
Wow.
Now what are you supposed to do? You hear this EVP and you go like, wow, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
Well, we went ahead and planned a trip back to try to finish it and try to form some kind of closure and some kind of, end to the story to try to figure out what happened. And these are the things that heartbreak you at the same time, we hope, enlighten you.
CJ asks, what projects is Mr. Booth going to be working on in the near future? What do you guys have coming up that you're going to be?
Well, we're going to film. We're working on a bunch of other movie scripts as well. But as far as the paranormal stuff, we are going to do a few more, and we've just been able to possibly get in one of the most coolest insane asylums that no one's ever been in before. It's a very gothic, early 18th century asylum that looks like it's out of Bedlam, England, a Bedlam asylum. So we're looking forward to get in there and help deal with the torment of the insane madhouse. There are some madhouses out there that are basically, I think there's one in Greece that is intense. Basically, it's a big round, almost like an arena, but it's a round building, and there's only one door in, and there are 0 windows. Wow. But once you went in there, that was it. These are the kind of places we love to cover, but we will be finishing something on voodoo and vampires, and as well as some of the other practices that are going through America, and especially down in Louisiana. We will be working on that and hopefully doing a few more insane asylums.
Okay, the building in New York, the Richardson building, I saw something, I believe it was on one of your Facebook pages. Were you guys planning on doing anything there?
We hope to. It's a difficult building to get in, due to the fact that they don't want you to really talk about what happened there.
Right.
If you guys are aware of that area, there's the new mental facility pretty much next door to it. And we went down there. In fact, we were just there a couple of weeks ago. And it's an incredible building. But the thing is, if you guys know Richardson, the architect, the mason, he alone has a fascinating story to tell on his buildings, the Richardson buildings. Him being a mason, Richardson buildings helped build a lot of the churches, and they also built the White House. And
wow.
which is pretty insane if you think that the people that build the White House are building churches, insane asylums, and basically satanic temples. There's no priority to them. They just build whatever. And I don't know if you knew this, but a lot of the architecture points to the sky. That's to obviously cause some kind of force, some kind of energy to come in there, whether it's making it holy or dark, depending on how you look at it. So there's a whole new fascinating concept just alone right there. But we hope to get in there. I don't know if we'll be able to. It's a difficult place to get into. Like I said, they don't want to discuss the treatment that happened in the past, and they definitely do not want anything to do with the paranormal.
That's a lot of the same asylums, like Waverly Hills was a sanatorium, but there's the one in Bartonville, Illinois that we're going to try to go to hopefully next spring. Was the Illinois State Hospital or the Bartonville Asylum for the Uncurable Insane. But you know, I guess the main one on my bucket list is the one where they had all the people strapped down in like baby beds.
Which one is that?
Oh, dadgummit, I don't know why I can't never think of the name of it when I want to, but Pennhurst.
Yeah, well, Pennhurst is like all those places. And of course, you know, a lot of people have done it. A lot of people have gone in there and done it.
Right.
We're not interested in doing a building unless we can get access to all of it. I mean, it's just like the Missouri State Prison. It's just like Pennhurst. It's like even Waverly Hills now. Because when we filmed there, we were able to get, you know, access to everything, every building, every floor. I don't want to go do a building and only get to do one or two of the buildings.
Right.
I want to do and I understand the hazardous, and I understand the danger of them falling apart. So, we were going to do Pennhurst, and I did a lot of research on it, and I still have it, you know, all filed. The Save the Children, the NBC thing. It was NBC, I think, or ABC that did that special on Save the Children. I think it was in the 70s they did that. It was horrible. It was a terrible place. They had the adult cribs and how they treated people. And because I read a lot of the letters that the patients had written and a lot of the testimonials and all the research that you can possibly find. And I would love to do it, but I'm waiting to do that when something new pops up that we don't already know. When we're ready to do that, as soon as I feel, it's like, say the islands in New York, the Thousand Islands, there's leper colonies, and there's Typhoid Mary, and it's all incredible places everywhere that could have really great stories about. Say the Bridgewater Triangle, just for instance.
Right. Now I'm going to ask you, and I'm sure you've probably been asked this before, the Island of the Dolls. And of course, I know Ghost Adventures went there. I think Ghost Hunters went there.
Went where?
The Island of the Dolls. It's in Mexico.
Oh, yeah, exactly. In Mexico.
Did you guys ever think of maybe doing something with that? Or
Oh yeah, I would love to do that. Destination Truth did that. Again, like I said, once they do it, we're not interested in doing it. I'm not, I'm not really somebody to jump on somebody that touched it. When we did Waverly, we did it before Ghost Hunters did it. They got theirs out first, even though we filmed it first, and ours actually aired the premiere night after theirs. So, same with the Ashmore Estate, because Ghost Adventures went there, but we actually filmed it first, and that was in Children of the Grave too. Same with the Exorcist story. So it's just like, I think there's a lot of incredible stories, and the Island of the Dolls is an intriguing story indeed. But there's a lot of those kind of stories that have been untold, and I think it's important, if we can, is to find the untold stories.
and that's the interesting thing, because that's what you guys are doing. Ghost hunters, and I'm not trying to put them down in any kind of way, but their thing is to go there and just collect some evidence, because they're doing a show and that's what they do.
Well, I mean, they at least have, well, to be honest with you, they have at least, without getting into what words mean and breaking them down literally, I mean, they're called adventures, where the other one, the shows are called hunters. The word hunter in general is not a good word.
Right.
The word debunked is really not a good word if you look at what it really means. And maybe some words could be ghost trophies. We're not there to hang the ghosts on the wall after we capture them and treat them as trophies. We're there to study the spirituality. I mean, it's an interesting concept between science and spirituality. There seems to be sometimes a fine line down there. There are either scientific people, or there are spiritual people being sensitive and that sort of nature, psychics. But the thing is, spirits are called spirits for a reason, and it isn't a spiritual world. So a lot of science is going to do you no good trying to find it out, because it is a spiritual world. And when you're in a spiritual world, science really doesn't hold much. But I understand being solid about what you are with your equipment and being solid about going in there, but at the same time, you have to think with your heart. You have to think with your intuition. That's what you had. That's what you had before all these devices were made. Now, we do use a lot of these devices, and I find them very cool. The thermals are really great. Probably my favorite thing to use is the FLIRs, because you pretty much can get activity a lot quicker than anything else. EVPs are really, truly very cool to do, especially the ones that happen more in real time. They're very rewarding. As far as, but there's nothing better than going down there and getting a shiver, and you don't have any of that. You just feel something is not right. And there's actually there's your great anchor point to set up your psychic, or your psychic feels that, or you bring in your team on a really strong feeling, because that is really what they're putting out. They're putting out energy that you feel. The equipment is just picking up offsets of it, whether it also could be, obviously electricity and any other kind of cell phones or whatever. So really what you're picking up, you're not picking up a cell phone, you're not picking up electricity, you're not picking up, distortion, that kind of stuff. You're picking up the real feeling of something happened here. When you walk into a room, you feel a bad vibe, you don't know why, but you do know why, because you're supposed to feel that. That's what, the Creator gave you, your gut feeling. You go with your gut feeling. You go with your heart on this. I find that is so much more rewarding than depending. I mean, the equipment's great also to back it up, so don't get me wrong, but also go with a gut feeling as well.
Scott says, Mr. Booth, what is your take on psychic mediums, good or bad?
I think it's a toss-up. It's like, I think they got a bad rap from a lot of people that have gone overboard. There are people that will go into hospitals and they'll say, like, I can sense sick people were here.
Right.
There was some kind of wheelchairs in this building before, wasn't there? Like, well, no-brainer, right? No-brainer. But, there are a lot of unexplained events. So I think you go in there, first of all, do some serious research on it. You don't need to share that with your sensitive or your medium, but as a team leader or as, the archivist, you go in there, and you go in there then with your sensitive, psychic, whatever you call them. You go in there with your electronic equipment, whether it's your dowsing rods, which is not electronic equipment, but the dowsing rods, the Ovilus, or, the digital dowsing tools, all that kind of stuff. The key meters, all that kind of stuff.
And all that.
Yeah, all that stuff. So you got that, you have your psychic, and then you got your research, and then you got your gut feeling.
Okay,
how cool
Cheryl
is that?
Carter says she's a medium, and Cheryl and I talk a lot, and I have a lot of faith in her. I think there are some that you can say that are genuine, and some that you can say are full of hot air.
Yeah, I think probably the ones that are charging quite a bit of money might be more so full of. I mean, there's still it's interesting because there are still people like that do tarot cards out of their houses, especially the smaller states. $10 come and get your reading. Some of them, I guarantee you, are spot on, because it's just like a writer. Imagine somebody that writes books or paints pictures or is a musician, and they don't do it unless they get paid. Well, that means they truly are a writer or a painter or a musician. Because if you truly are an artist, you do it whether you get paid or not, because you can't help yourself. You can't live. You can't breathe without doing what you have that drive to do. That same applies to a psychic or a medium. That is what they're drawn to, and a lot of them, that are obviously unpromoted or untouched with are scared to do that because they feel, sadness, empathics, and all that kind of stuff. They see things they don't want to see. But those are the gifts of the trade. So right. I think that you just have to get someone that you trust, and I think it's great to have one on every team. I think you should have a psychic or a medium. I think you should have a tech guy. I think you should have a researcher, and I think you should have somebody extraterrestrial UFO, occultist, all kinds of cryptology. I think you should have one of each in each of those teams, because also my feeling is, everybody picks up figures that are about, say 3-4 feet tall, and they kind of have bigger heads, and they're all calling them shadow children. Well, what happens if they aren't shadow children? What happens if they're extraterrestrial? And they're hiding in the concept of being shadow people. And we're just writing them off as shadow people being paranormal or ghosts, not necessarily supernatural, but being ghosts instead of being of the extraterrestrial nature. So exactly. I really think that it's important to have that sort of research, that sort of expertise in your team.
Dita says she agrees. You have opened the field to the full scope. Way to go, Christopher.
Thank you.
I know that you have something that you have to do, and it's coming up on the hour, about 3 minutes. So I just want to say, for me and everybody here, we really enjoyed having you on. Some very interesting stuff that we talked about, and I look forward to seeing some of your new stuff when it comes out. And I still got to go back and see Dead Still and Haunted Boy. I got a couple more that I want to see. The Unseen.
Well, Dead Still is on Sci-Fi. They have a window for 3 months before it gets released on DVD and gets released streaming and everything else. So just keep checking the schedule on Sci-Fi for Dead Still. As far as everything else, you can go to www.spookedtv.com, and you can see what we're doing. That's pretty much our own little website that we have our own stuff up there.
Right. And I've been to there. I've got that bookmarked.
Yeah. So you can check out what we're doing up there, and of course, Facebook's a great place to see what we're up to, normal and abnormal. So it's we're definitely excited. And of course, if you're around the New Orleans area on November 21st and November 23rd, come on down to the Comic Expo and hang out with us, and maybe you can come and hang out with us on the ghost stuff that we're going to do after, the investigations that we're going to do after throughout that week. And so it's just pretty exciting.
Awesome. And you guys, you can also rent the Booth Brothers movies on Amazon.com, or you can buy the movies there. And
yeah, they're on Amazon. Yeah, Amazon Instant Video. Thank you. Amazon Instant Video has all the movies. They're $1.99 a rent. If you're a Prime member, you actually get to see them for free. I think we have 5 films up there. Soul Catcher's no longer on DVD. Now is The Possessed Children of the Grave. The only ones we sell now is Spooked and The Exorcist File. Actually, we sell that.
Johnny said Haunted Boy is on Redbox, so.
Yeah, well, if you want to get a copy of the real diary of The Exorcist, if you get it on our site, spooktv.com, we actually give you a free copy of the real diary with the DVD.
Wow, that's cool.
That's pretty cool to read the real diary written by 14 priests and then get to watch what we found out from that diary. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, we're about a minute away from the hour. You want to add anything real quick before it just hit the 9 o'clock mark, so I'm sure you have to go.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much for having me, okay? And I guess everybody should have happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Hey, for y'all too. And
talking to you guys till then.
Congratulations on your recent marriage. And
thank you very much.
I keep up on all this stuff. Anyway.
I'm off to then you'll be happy to know that I'm off to see my little boy, Gabriel, for Christmas, which I'm very happy. I haven't seen him for quite a few months.
Awesome.
I'm divorced, so it's really hard to see him. So I get to go up. I will be returning to Los Angeles and spend some time with him for a while before we get back on the road next year to do more paranormal underdog stories, the stories of the underdog and the untold.
Right. And that's what we love about you guys is y'all do the stuff that other people just kind of brush aside. So.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, well, God bless everybody, okay? Cheers.
Have a wonderful night.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, folks, we got to take a break. We are live on WCJV Digital Broadcasting out of Buffalo, New York. We will return. Do not go away.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
Wow. Okay, everybody, we are back. That was a very interesting conversation with Mr. St. Booth, and Matt is still with us, Matt Carr from Niagara Paranormal. I think he's going to have to get ready to cut out. So, Matt, if you want to say anything to anybody before you go.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to say, well, first off, it was awesome being able to listen to Mr. St. Booth, and I mean, it's really cool that he brings the true aspect of the paranormal and the history of these places out into the mainstream, and it definitely is. I mean, so exciting, because a lot of these, paranormal shows, unfortunately, are out there for the TV ratings and everything like that. And it's just really cool to see that he has such a love of the history and the true side of the paranormal. And it was really cool to be able to listen to him. Like I said, we have an event coming up the 27th, as I already talked about, and it's at Palmyra, and you guys can go on our website, NiagaraParanormal.com, or our Facebook page at Facebook.com/NiagaraPara, or you can, or you can just go directly to buy tickets if you'd like to at NiagaraPara.brownpapertickets.com. And hopefully some of you guys are from around here that are listening, and we hope to see some of you guys there.
That's awesome, and I wish I could. I'm way off down here in West Tennessee. But if I could, yeah, I would come and support all those kind of things,
For sure, yeah, definitely, and hopefully, like I said, it's going to a good cause to help Palmyra keep up what they got going there. I mean, they're doing an amazing job as far as preserving and upkeeping the two amazing. Well, I think they have 4 buildings total, but the 2 buildings that we go in to investigate are just absolutely beautiful.
Okay, people, we have had an interesting night. We've had some very great people call in and share some time with us. Greg from Iron Island. I love Greg. He's just a really outgoing, friendly guy. And Matt is he has a very, very good, well-respected paranormal team up in Niagara area. And I don't say this a lot, but I guess of any teams that I've talked to or met or whatever, you guys would be one that I would actually want to do an investigation with. You guys are really good at what you do.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it, and that's what I like to pride ourselves on, is being a younger group and really loving the history aspects of of the places we get to go to, as well as paranormal. So it really means a lot coming from from you, that you say that you respect us like that. I really appreciate it.
Well, I mean, it really, it's not so much the age of a team or group, really, as it is their morals and standards. I mean, if you got a group that respects not only the clients and the property, but the spirits as well, I mean, you got a well-rounded group there. And
well, thank you, Roger. I appreciate that.
I think you guys fit in all them categories, and I really would. I'd love to investigate with you guys sometime.
Well, for sure. We'll set that up. But thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, like I said, you call in anytime. You're always welcome. Greg knows he's always welcome.
All right. Thanks, Roger. Thanks, Cindy. Hopefully you feel better, Hank.
You have a great night.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay. Onward and upward. Or as Dita said. Do what? In shock. I didn't know I was. Oh. Yeah. Dita said, so many people left. It's not over till the lady sings. And I didn't use the other word. But we get the drift. Motion cameras was. Let's see. I gotta back up through here. Who's doing the throwing? I don't know. Okay, now that we go to test our theories, right? We all do that. I have got to go find something. We are going to have a visitor, folks, and you're going to love it. He's one of my favorite people. But in the meantime, real quick, I'll throw something in here we can just talk about briefly. Now, this is interesting. How many people have ever read anything about the will-o'-the-wisp? A will-o'-the-wisp, medieval Latin foolish fire, are atmospheric ghost lights seen by travelers at night, especially over bogs, swamps, or marshes, and that could be what you call swamp gas, just like they claim about UFOs. It resembles a flickering lamp and is said to recede if approached, drawing travelers from the safe paths. The phenomenon is known by a variety of names, including jack-o'-lantern, friar's lantern, hinky punk, what is that? And hobby lantern in English. Well attested in English folklore and in much of European folklore. The Will-o'-the-Wisp and the Snake by Herman Hendrick, 1931. The term will-o'-the-wisp comes from wisp, a bundle of sticks or paper sometimes used as a torch, and the name will, thus willow of the torch. The term jack-o'-lantern has a similar meaning. In the United States, they are called spook lights, ghost lights, or orbs by folklorists and paranormal enthusiasts. Folk belief attributes the phenomenon to fairies or elemental spirits, explicitly in the term hobby lanterns, found in the 19th century Denham Tracts Briggs. A dictionary of fairies provides an extensive list of other names for the same phenomenon, though the place where they are observed, graveyard, bogs, etc., influences the naming considerably. When observed on graveyards, they are known as ghost candles, also a term from the Denham Tracts. The names will-o'-the-wisp and jack-o'-lantern are explained in ethological folk tales recorded in many variant forms in Ireland, Scotland, England, Wales, Appalachia, and Newfoundland. Excuse me. And these tales, how do you pronounce that? Protagonist? Named either Will or Jack, are doomed to haunt the marshes with a light for some misdeed. One version from Shropshire, recounted by K.M. Briggs in her book A Dictionary of Fairies, refers to Will the Smith. Will is a wicked blacksmith who is given a second chance by St. Peter at the gates to heaven, but leads such a bad life that he ends up being doomed to wander the earth. The devil provides him with a single burning coal with which to warm himself, which he then uses to lure foolish travelers into marshes. An Irish version of the tale has a ne'er-do-well named Drunk Jack, or Stingy Jack, who makes a deal with the devil, offering up his soul in exchange for payment of his pub tab. When the devil comes to collect his due, Jack tricks him by making him climb a tree and then carving a cross underneath, preventing him from climbing down. In exchange for removing the cross, the devil forgives Jack's debt. However, because no one as bad as Jack would ever be allowed into heaven, Jack is forced upon his death to travel to hell and asks for a place there. The devil denies him entrance in revenge, but as a Boone grants Jack an ember from the fires of hell to light his way through the twilight world, which lost souls are forever condemned. Jack places it in a carved turnip to serve as a lantern. Another version of the tale, Willie the Wisp, is related in Irish folk tales by Henry Glassy, the first modern novel in the Irish language. Sedina by Peter U. Longshire. Some of this stuff's hard for me to pronounce. In a version of the tale, folklore continued in Europe. In European folklore, these lights are held to be either mischievous spirits of the dead or other supernatural beings, or spirits such as fairies attempting to lead travelers astray. A modern Americanized adaptation of this travelers' association frequently places swaying ghost lights along roadsides and railroad tracks. Here, a swaying movement of the lights is alleged to be that of 19th and early 20th century railway workers, supposedly killed on the job. Sometimes the lights are believed to be the spirits of unbaptized or stillborn children flitting between heaven and hell. Modern occultist elaborations, which follow the alchemical writings of Paracelsus, bracket them with the salamander, a type of spirit wholly independent from humans, unlike ghosts which are presumed to have been human at some point in the past. Supernatural beings, Slavic folklore, Northern Europe. This section does not cite any references or sources. In Sweden, the will-o'-the-wisp represents the soul of an unbaptized person trying to lead travelers to water in the hope of being baptized. That's interesting. Danes, Finns, Swedes, Estonians, Latvians, Irish people, and amongst some other groups believe that will-o'-the-wisp also marked the location of a treasure deep in ground or water, which could be taken only when the fire was there. Sometimes magical tricks and even dead man's hand were required as well to uncover the treasure. In Finland and other northern countries, it was believed that early autumn was the best time to search for will-o'-the-wisps and treasures below them. It was believed that when someone hid treasure in the ground, he made the treasure available only at the St. John's Day and set will-o'-the-wisp to mark the exact place and time so that he could come to take the treasure back. The will-o'-the-wisp can be found in numerous folk tales around the United Kingdom and is often a malicious character in the stories. In Welsh folklore, it is said that the light is fairy fire, held in the hand of a puka, or PWCA, whatever, a small goblin-like fairy that mischievously leads lone travelers off the beaten path at night. As the traveler follows the puka through the marsh or bog, the fire is extinguished, leaving them lost. The puka is said to be one of the, good Lord, I can't pronounce that, fairy family. In Wales, the light predicts a funeral that will take place soon in the locality. Wirt Sykes, in his book British Goblins, mentions the following Welsh tale about puka. A peasant traveling home at dusk sees a bright light traveling along ahead of him. Looking closer, he sees that the light is a lantern held by a dusky little figure, which he follows for several miles. All of a sudden, he finds himself standing on the edge of a vast chasm with a roaring torrent of water rushing below him. At the precise moment, the lantern carrier leaps across the gap, lifts the light high over its head, lets out a malicious laugh, and blows out the light, leaving the poor peasant a long way from home, standing in pitch darkness at the edge of a precipice next to a cliff. This is a fairly common cautionary tale concerning the phenomenon. However, the Injus Fatuus, man, they got some words here, it's just crazy, was not always considered dangerous. There are some tales told about the will-o'-the-wisps being guardians of treasure, much like the Irish leprechaun, leading those brave enough to follow them to sure riches. Other stories tell of travelers getting lost in the woodland and coming upon a will-o'-the-wisp, and depending on how they treated the will-o'-the-wisp, the spirit would either get them lost further in the woods or guide them out. Also related, the pixie light from Devon and Cornwall is much often associated with the pixie, who often has led travelers away from the safe and reliable route and into the bogs with glowing lights. Like poltergeists, they can generate uncanny sounds. They were less serious than their German Weissfrauenchen, frequently blowing out candles on unsuspecting courting couples or producing obscene kissing sounds, which were always misinterpreted by parents. Pixie light was also associated with lambent light, which the Old Norse might have seen guarding their tombs. In Cornish folklore, pixie light also has associations with colt pixie. A colt pixie is a pixie that has taken the shape of a horse and enjoys playing tricks such as neighing at the other horses to lead them astray. In Guernsey, the light is known as the Bollinger Rolling Fire and is believed to be a lost soul. On being confronted with the spectre, tradition prescribes two remedies. The first is to turn one's or coat inside out. This has the effect of stopping the Bollinger in its tracks. The other solution is to stick a knife into the ground, blade up. The ball, in an attempt to kill itself, will attack the ball. Man, this is some crazy stuff. Aliyah, or marsh ghost light, is the name given to an unexplained strange light phenomena occurring over the marshes as observed by the Bengali people, especially the fishermen of West Bengal and Bangladesh. The marsh light is attributed to some kind of unexplained marsh gas apparitions that confuse fishermen, make them lose their bearings, and may even lead to drowning if one decided to follow them moving over the marshes. Local communities in the region believe that these strange hovering marsh lights are in fact ghost lights representing the ghosts of fishermen who died fishing. Sometimes they confuse the fishermen and sometimes they help them avoid future dangers. A Japanese rendition of a Russian will-o'-the-wisp, Charbati ghost light, also spelled Charbati, whatever, Charbati, is a yet unexplained strange dancing light phenomenon occurring on dark nights, reported from the Banai grasslands in seasonal marshy wetlands and the adjoining desert of the marshy salt flats of the Rann of Kutch, near Indo-Pakistani border in Kutch district, Gujarat state, India. Local villagers have been seeing these sometimes hovering, sometimes flying balls of light since time immemorial, and call it Charbati in their Kutchi Sindhi language, with Chur meaning ghost and Bati meaning light. Similar phenomena are described in Japanese folklore, including Hitodama, literally human soul, as a ball of energy. Hai no Tama, ball of flame, Aborigi, and I can't pronounce some of this. All these phenomena are described as balls of flame or light at times associated with graveyards, but occurring across Japan as a whole in a wide variety of situations and locations. These phenomena are described in Shigeru Mizuki's 1985 book, Graphic World of Japanese Phantoms. In South America, will-o'-the-wisp is part of the folklore in Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. Boitata, Portuguese pronunciation, is the Brazilian equivalent of the will-o'-the-wisp. Regionally, it is called Boitata. Well, good Lord, how many times? Anyway, the name comes from the old Tupi language and means fiery serpent. Its great fiery eyes leave it almost blind by day, but by night it can see everything. According to legend, Boitata was a big serpent which survived a great deluge, a cave anaconda. Left its cave after the deluge and in the dark went through the fields preying on the animals and corpses, eating exclusively its favorite morsel, the eyes. The collected light from the eaten eyes gave Boitata its very fiery gaze. Not really a dragon, but a giant snake in the native language, boa or maboa, whatever. In Argentina and Uruguay, the will-o'-the-wisp phenomenon is known as Luz Mala, evil light, and is one of the most important myths in both countries' folklore. This phenomenon is quite feared and is mostly seen in rural areas. It consists of an extremely shiny ball of light floating a few inches from the ground. Mexico has two equivalents. In one, they are called Brajas, witches. Folklore explains will-o'-the-wisp to be witches who transformed into these lights. The reason for this, however, varies according to the region. Another explanation refers to the lights and indicators to places where gold or hidden treasures are buried, which can be found only with the help of children. In this one, they are called Lucis del Dinero, money lights, or Lucis del Terreso, treasure lights. The swampy area of Massachusetts, known as the Bridgewater Triangle, has folklore of ghostly orbs of light, and there have been modern observations of these ghost lights in this area as well. And of course, we can go on and on and on. Australia, and it's just the fact that there's so many interesting things that have to do with will-o'-the-wisp. I never knew it was that widely spread. That's just crazy. Oh, good Lord, everybody and their brother left. They must have got bored with my story there. Anyway. Okay. Well, let's see. We have Dita and Billy and Tamara still here with us. And everybody else flew the coop, I guess. Blew the coop. Okay. Anyway. Dita, what are you laughing at there? My company is not as interesting, trust me. Okay. Okay. Big Bird Head Company. Okay, people. Yes. I thought I had a caller that was going to call in. Awesome. Okay. But did have ball lightning in the house. Have never seen Will o' the Wisp, but had ball lightning in the house. What does that look like? From your standpoint, what did you see? What does it look like? I mean, not like an orb, right? Like somebody would say an orb is. Did it look like it was like putting off sparks, energy, etc.? Bright blue flash. Wow. Caller, you're on the line.
Hello.
Oh, Your Eminence. Welcome, welcome.
How are you?
I am just dandy. And what has producer Bo been up to here lately?
Well, I've been around a lot of awesomeness in my life, and I am very awesome. But I got to tell you, Roger, that tonight the interview was very awesome.
Yes, that was very interesting. A lot of good, great stuff came out of that, and Christopher is just an awesome dude. I'd like to meet his brother. I think he would probably be just as awesome. And
yeah, great guys.
We had a good time. I really got a lot out of that, and so many of these movies that I've got to see that I haven't seen yet. Especially the Exorcist one, I wanted to see that one because I wanted to see what the real version of it differs from the cult TV classic,
Oh, Haunted Boy?
Yes.
Yeah, I have not seen that one. I have seen Spooked and Children of the Grave.
Yeah, I saw that one.
That inspired me to make my own documentary called Children on My Lawn. It was all about kids cutting across my lawn. Damn bastards.
Right. And don't you just hate that? Ain't there plenty of streets they can walk on?
Right. They made sidewalks. Always looking for a shortcut. So.
Yeah, my daughter and them had that problem when they lived over here close to me. They had, and there was a fence around the yard, but they cut open a piece of the fence and they had them a trail going right through there.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is.
Now, you have a new hit record for us, and I can't wait to hear this.
Oh boy, yeah. I've been very busy in the Jerk Art Studios, as you know. After the accident that we had where the sound buffers collapsed a few weeks ago, things were on hold for a little while, but we got things back together. And in fact, I had a few some studio musicians that were contacting me that actually wanted to pay me to play on my album, which I thought was very awesome.
Right, ain't that kind of like a recording contract?
Basically, I will give them a copy of the CD afterwards, after they pay me.
Oh, okay. So they're just buying a copy.
And it's all worth it to them.
Well, yes. Who wouldn't want to have a CD of that much amazingness?
And be able to say I played on Bo Jerkart's CD.
Right, exactly.
Yes. So.
And they're all hoping that some of that awesomeness will rub off on them.
Exactly. It's a step in the right direction, going up the ladder of fame to them.
Right.
And I'm considering right now a world tour for the CD. It's been doing very well in Zimbabwe, and we're looking to see what our options are as far as going on a world tour. Right now, the plan was that I was just going to go into the stadium and stand there, and everyone can look at me.
Right.
But I think I actually might do a song or two.
Well, now that would be too much. I don't know if they could handle that much amazingness in one night. Just being able to gaze at you would be a lot.
Correct. But we'll see what we can do about that. So yes, we've been very hard, working very diligently in the Jerk Heart Studios, and just produced another song. Kind of, it's a message kind of to the people that my haters that are out there. With fame, there is it comes. It's a price you have to pay from being
Right.
so awesome. Of people that are jealous, and that's pretty much what the song is all about.
And I believe that we have that song for the listeners out there. I think maybe we can get this song played for everybody to hear, and don't forget everybody to give His Eminence, a vote of appreciation for all the hard work.
Yes, you're getting a sneak preview to one of my songs from my CD called Me, and we had just finished it a couple of days ago, and I'm very proud of it, as always. And so, anytime that you're ready. Enjoy. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, hey. There's a program that I use for my paranormal news, Photoshop. I can make a UFO or a Bigfoot in the snow, Photoshop. I can be a sensation, just change the pixelation, Photoshop. I like 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 Photoshop. I can shrink it, I can stretch it, and hope that they don't catch it, Photoshop. I can cut, I can paste, I can add a haunted face, Photoshop. I know it's deception, but I get some attention, Photoshop. I like 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 Photoshop. That song is like off of a beat. I can make them up and eyes, I can make them any size, Photoshop. I can post it on my page and think I'm all the rage, Photoshop. If there's any objection, I'll cut our connection, Photoshop. I'll say I know the most, even though it's not a ghost, Photoshop. If you think they're in my yard, you must be a big retard, Photoshop. Don't you dare question my selfish intention, Photoshop. Let's go! I like Photoshop. I like Photoshop. I like Photoshop. I like Photoshop. I like Photoshop.
Okay, we are back, and that was not the song I thought we was going to hear.
Correct.
But that is, however, a great hit record from Bo Jerkhart, and I hope y'all enjoyed that.
That was actually a bonus feature. That song was actually a sound check that we did before we got things running. With the band, you could tell I was, I did the 1, 2, 3 count, stuff like that beforehand. And the band was really tight that night. We thought we'd rip that one off right away. And so that the quality of that one isn't that great. It's not studio quality, but it's a bonus feature on the CD, Me, 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 Me. And we're very proud of that, and it went off very nicely that evening.
That was a very good song there, and I'm still waiting. And I thought CJ had the new one that you just did.
Yeah, that one will have to. No release date for that one yet. According to my director here and my producer. Actually, I'm the producer. So I'm telling myself in my head that no, we will release that at a later date.
Well, and everybody, including myself, is going to have to wait in awe here to be able to hear this.
Right. They got exposed to one. I just can't blow my audio load all in one, at one time, so to speak.
Well, I just don't know if everybody can handle uh, 2 bouts of such awesomeness in one night anyway. So
It would be a 1-2 punch, correct?
Yeah, right. It'd be a knockout. So yeah, we might ought to wait on that a little bit. So what is the word on the sandwich entity in your Nobel Prize?
Oh, I've been still working on that. Right now, though, I've been very busy with the CD, so I haven't really been able to work too much on the sandwich entity stuff. I know we were talking about who did you ask me about? You asked me about Papa John Phillips a few weeks ago, and
Right.
I believe I spotted his liver. The ghost of his liver that he had transplanted, and I'm working on that right now.
Awesome.
Spotted liver, get it? Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and it probably was spotted too, and
Indeed. So that was a great interview tonight. Were you a little nervous there? A little excited?
Yeah, but I mean, I try to take all this stuff with a grain of salt, Now, and of course, Hank isn't with us tonight. He's sick, and so I was kind of doing the lone hillbilly from Tennessee thing, and
yeah, if I were in your shoes, I would be pretty nervous. I haven't been that nervous or excited since I watched the Honey Boo Boo Christmas special.
Honey Boo Boo is a honey no from now on. I think Mama messed up.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's the hype. So who knows? So what you? I'm sure you have some new songs in the works.
I've got a number of songs and promos that are going to be coming out very shortly, and it will be amazing, as always.
CJ said everybody is on or should be on meds. Well, yeah, I think I live medicated, but there, take your pill. So, you have these afflictions and all this stuff, and so I find it's just amazing that you're able to do all this stuff that you do and everything, because I know that you have all these medical problems and
Yes.
walking around out back with the 3-toed walker and all that stuff, and
yeah, I'm afflicted with everything, as you know. I am a chronic. I suffer chronic hypochondria, and so yeah, it afflicts me. I can't work and I can't do anything. So I investigate my yard.
Right. Now, there's a rumor, and God help me, I'm going to do this. There's a rumor that
she told me she was 18.
No, that's not the rumor.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But thanks for giving us that information, though.
Okay.
But there's a rumor that you may get kicked out of your house, and I was just wondering if that happens, where would you investigate then?
Oh boy. Yeah, things are a little rocky right now. Being a public person, I know that it will come out in the tabloids pretty soon. Yeah, things have gotten a little rocky around here, and we're going to have to just get things straightened out. That's all I have to say right now, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, now I hear that you have this one particular fan that is always after you and everything, you know, and I just wonder how do you deal with that, and you know, I mean, it's got to be bringing a hardship to your home life, and therefore the rumor of you being kicked out of your house and stuff like that.
Yeah, the group home. I try to be vigilant. I try to dispel the rumors from the truth, and as you know, I preach the truth. Oh, all right, never mind.
I think you caught on there.
Yeah, I'm in a little bit of trouble. Oh well, that's a price of fame, I guess. But yeah, I'm working on it. Hope for the best, and please pray for me.
And always, yes. And you know, with all your amazingness, I know you'll work through this thing, and it's going to be fine. And you know, we all have our own what's the word I'm looking for here? Stalkers.
Yes.
You know, that we have to deal with. So you know.
Yes, I have to constantly look over my shoulder. I constantly video cars going down the street, and I chase them. You know, they say, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" You know, leave my children alone. But that's just a line. I've seen it before.
Well, and why do you chase these cars down and snap pictures of their children? Though I mean,
they're out to get me. They're all out to get me because of my awesomeness.
That's got to be it, yeah.
They're all watching me, and I catch them at their own game, and I chase them down with my
beat
camera.
them to the punch, so to speak.
Exactly, and I film their children and say, "How do you like it?" And they're like, and they give me the line of, "We don't know what you're talking about. Please don't hurt us."
Right. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
I really want to know about the balloon thing. You know, why are you peeing on the balloons?
Oh, the balloons. Yes, to get rid of the evil. People place balloons from on my property, and I have to. It's some sort of curse that I believe. So in order to neutralize the curse, I must urinate on it.
Oh, okay.
And get rid of that curse. And you know, my neighbors, they're all watching, and you know, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. You know, I got to say, I'm number one. I got to take care of myself here. I offered that I would go urinate on their house too, but they were like, you know, just go away.
Okay, now you like I said, you have a female stalker that's after you. And
I have many.
Well, this one in particular is like, never lets up.
Oh.
And I just wonder, how do you deal with that? I mean, do you have a retaliation method, or now there's even rumors that there was supposed to be an engagement between you and Sid Stalker. So
yeah, there were children involved and things like that, and I broke it off. She was not aware that I had some children, and one of them's not mine. So I thought that would help, but I guess it doesn't. But I mean, I would say I'm only human, but I'm not. I'm awesome. So there you go.
Yeah, yes, you are awesome. So now everything that is possible, from cryptoids to vampires, werewolves, dinosaurs,
yes,
Mothman, the Jersey Devil, you name it, they're all there.
They are. They all come out.
And of course your galactic friends too. Now we can't forget about them.
Yes, in fact, I posted recently. One of them stopped by in his Winnebago on his way across country, and I was very happy to see him. And I gave him some of the last of my Count Chocula. Did you see that there was an article about?
Yes, I did. I know what you're fixing to say.
Right, and I was running out of Count Chocula, and that's why, because someone was making beer out of the Count Chocula.
So, well then, if you can't buy the Count Chocula, then you're going to have to go buy the Count Choca beer.
Yeah, or the, what was the other stuff, the vampire bits, whatever cereal that the generic local grocery store was, I tried giving his friend some of that, and he spit it out on the floor. And that's not good. So, anyway, they were traveling across country, and they have a lot of money. They were able to get a Winnebago, and I don't know how, and with blocks on the pedals, because he's very short, and he was able to reach the gas pedal and the foot brake and all that stuff.
That's awesome.
And they're very good drivers.
Yeah, I assume they would be.
Yeah, they don't want to get pulled over. If they get pulled over, then look out. They will declare war on the planet.
Right.
But
yeah,
so
have they ever mentioned to you about taking over the planet or anything like that, or?
No, not as of yet. They were pretty much like, you're on your own. They were heading down to see Old Faithful, apparently. So we'll see what happens down there. Down at Yellowstone. I haven't gotten any postcards from them yet. I hope they made it okay.
Well, I hope they did too, and I know you'd be extremely worried about them.
Right. I asked them if they had a membership to AAA, just in case they get a flat tire or something, and they said no. We have everything under control. And I was like, okay, all right, that's cool.
Hello. Well, very briefly there, I saw Polly. Okay, hold on here. Okay, got to kill that. I like chocolate and beer as a nice after bite. I don't know if I would want my beer to taste like chocolate or not.
That's very interesting beer. It would be, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. You know, I mean, my daughter actually tried putting the chocolate with marshmallows in her coffee, and I don't think that turned out too good either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just, you know, one of those, well, I wonder what this would taste like kind of deals. And I think we were out of creamer at the time, and so she put the chocolate with marshmallows in her coffee. And
I've done that.
it,
I've put instant or hot cocoa mix or, all that stuff in my coffee before. Um, I've tried, what else? Ice cream. Chocolate ice cream.
now, chocolate ice cream, uh, that's my favorite ice cream. If I'm going to eat ice cream, I want the chocolate ice cream. But now, I'm quite fond of Dairy Queen's chocolate dipped ice cream. I love
Mm.
those. Uh,
I would love to have more of that, but I'm lactose intolerant. Because, again, I have many afflictions, and I pay for it afterwards. I can produce a lot of methane.
okay, and you don't strike matches around where you're at, right?
I'm sorry?
You said you produce a lot of methane. I said you don't like matches or light matches around where you are, right?
Actually, I do from time to time when I'm outside just for fun. Lift a leg, but not in an enclosed environment. Yeah, I will actually blow the windows out.
Well, no,
That,
if you think about it, you could get you a hot air balloon and you could inflate it and everything and lift yourself out of the backyard. You'd be able to see like all around the area there. You know, everybody else's backyard might be stuff there here too.
oh, don't be ridiculous. I can't lift myself up with a. You got to be real here. I got to stay on the ground and talk to my aliens and Bigfoot and Slender Man all along the tree line. You're being ridiculous.
Now the one-legged Sasquatch.
Oh yes.
Have you seen any more evidence of the one-legged Sasquatch?
No, I have not. Again, I was in the studio. I have not seen anything from the Sasquatch. Oh, actually, now that I think of it, while one of the songs was going, I believe I may have seen him through the basement window, like sitting there listening to us play, and he was kind of just like bobbing his head up and down, and he was tapping his one foot up and down to the beat. Yeah.
Well, now, I had an idea that to capture evidence of a one-legged Sasquatch, the actual body, so to speak, on camera. You might try folding up one leg and tying it up and putting you on a Sasquatch suit. Because the way I see it, if you dress like him, you got a better chance of tuning in with him.
Yeah, there you go. That's an idea. I was gonna hire like a one-legged actor or something to come in with a gorilla suit on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that guy, the one who just like killed his girlfriend over in England, he's in jail now, isn't he? So he can't. The Olympic runner.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I contacted. I contacted him, but he was busy. Said he. So yeah.
Well,
good.
you could get Lieutenant Dan. He could just take off one of his titanium alloy legs. And
Oh, Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
I mean, these are just thoughts to ponder.
Yeah. But that would make a good trap for him. That's a good idea. Of just like putting somebody out there with. Oh, you know who I could hire is Paul McCartney's ex-wife. She needs the money.
Oh my God. Yeah, and see, you could set your camera up out there.
Right.
you know, and just let it run and send your actor out there and everything and to draw him out, you know.
Right, right, and I think she would be all for it, you know.
But you got to make sure that you have your blurry lens, you know, on there and everything too.
Right, right. I think she would be game for
that. That would be cool now.
Right, I don't know how much money she got from McCartney, you know, but, you know, her case as far as the whole trial and everything, you might say that she didn't have a leg to stand on.
Oh, my God. I love it. Only somebody with your awesomeness can come up with something that witty.
Thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the veal.
Now, what was the deal with is that why he had to get rid of her because she had only one leg?
I don't know. I don't know. She was trying to take him to the cleaners. That's all I knew. You know.
Oh. Well, she wanted him to pay for her titanium alloy leg.
One of them gold diggers, you know.
Oh, okay. So now,
I've come across a lot of those, and they were actually with me. They were awesome diggers, trying to extract my awesomeness from me.
Right.
Right. So I took care of them legally, you know.
So you kick them to the curb. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, with one leg.
Now, see, that's how awesome you are. Now, this time does slip plumb away from us, and we gotta shut this thing down. So, we've enjoyed having you call in next week. Let us know. Give us the updates on the one-legged Sasquatch. If you get an actor, I wanna see the post the pictures for us. So.
Alrighty. You had a great show tonight.
Thank you very much, and for everybody listening in, we appreciate you visiting with us. Everybody that called in, everybody in the chat room, and blessings for Hank there. Hope he's feeling better and be back with us next week.
Which,
at what time we will have some interesting things to talk about, I'm quite sure, and you never know who's gonna call in. So we'll see everybody next week. And if you can't be normal, be paranormal.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
One, two, three, There's a program that I use for my paranormal news, Photoshop. I can make a UFO or a Bigfoot in the snow, Photoshop. I can be a sensation, just change the pixelation, Photoshop. I like 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 Photoshop. I can shrink it, I can stretch it, Hope that they don't catch a Photoshop. I can cut, I can paste, I can add a haunted face Photoshop. I know it's deception, but I get some attention Photoshop. I like 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 Photoshop. I can make some Mothman eyes, I can make them any size Photoshop. I can post it on my page and think I'm all the rage Photoshop. If there's any objection, I'll cut our connection Photoshop. I'll say I know the most even though it's not a ghost Photoshop. If you think they're in my yard, you must be a big retard Photoshop. Don't you dare question my selfish intention Photoshop.